So the flow, because the city is nothing more, what you said, a flow of products and people. That's what makes a city. Products, peoples, economies, goods, ideas, they're always in flow. Now when I go to a river, right, and I take a river, just flowing down, and it breaks off here, goes there, so it goes down. Now, if I go and I tack off from this and I build something, and then I create, I don't know, my little idea that I wanted to have here. I want to tap off that water there and do something here. What is the difference between water that's here and water that's here?
It's concentrated.
Still, it stands still.
Yeah, the quality is over.
It's stagnant. You know the word? Stagnant. Still. Stagnant. And what happens to still water?
That
Bacteria.
Bacteria.
You know? This is really the ABC of understanding vitality. In fact, I'll tell you something else that we also learn from studying water. In the water, there are warm currents in the sea. So we're going to give them all pluses. This is what marine biology teaches us about life, because life started in the sea. If you want to study about life, go to its origin. And you have cold waterfronts. Sorry, I thought it could have been better. Too intuitive to think too far ahead of these things. When they studied life. They want to study, life. They looked at a cell here, and they studied this cell, and they studied this cell. Now, what's the condition of this cell? The urban condition, the spatial condition. What's the condition of this cell?
That's the cold or warm?
Doesn't matter.
Cold.
It's one of the cells. This cell is surrounded by all similar kind of cells. In fact, the most unique part of this whole thing is found right here in the middle. And the same thing over here. What did they start to understand of these cells here that were in the middle? What happens to you as an individual? Now tell yourself, you're now a cell. Imagine this for a second. You standing, you're in a current, you're in a flow, whatever. But around you, for as far as you can see, you're surrounded by exact replicas of you. So imagine 20 Lauras around you. What's going to start happening to you? What can you do with your life having all these Lauras around you? Who think exactly what you think, who know exactly what you know.
You stop
That's the
developing.
most neutral person, the less influence from outside.
So what happens to
You feel very
Laura?
comfy.
What happens to you? What happens to you? Let's say you feel comfy, you can be completely on your own, you don't, there's no, there's no shame, everything, they all know everything.
You
What happens
probably,
on day two?
you probably don't develop
To
anymore.
know each other.
You probably don't develop, Father says. Why don't you develop?
Because
You're
you,
not challenged. Because you're not challenged, yeah.
You don't have any influences from outside.
So what eventually happens if someone doesn't develop? One way of
Don't.
life, you either go that way, or you go that way. You're gonna die out. Because if you can't exchange, and you can't develop, you can't progress,
Can make any
you can't just sit
moves.
there.
From what?
You're gonna feel very comfortable for that first day. You're going, hey, I feel at home. But at a certain point, you're gonna need to do something. So the cells here and the cells here are dying off. So then it says, shit, that's dying. So where's life actually being born?
exchange.
Yeah.
In
But they're only dying because of some foreign influence, right?
They're dying because of no influence.
Electric.
Because you're surrounded by Lauras.
But if it's just, there
Yeah.
has to be something that causes them to die out, right?
Well, actually, it's exactly the other way around. There's actually nothing happening And that's why they're dying out.
Nothing
it's-
that they are not used to,
Right?
nothing that they are not already used to for, let's say,
I mean, just
long
simply
period.
see that yourself. Put yourself in a surrounding of 20 people around you, all day long. And no matter where you are in the city, you got a boundary of 20 Lauras around you.
You just get bored.
You get crazy.
Yeah.
It's very simple. So, in this area here, all kinds of new things were happening. Some things were fighting and beating each other, some things, but through the incredible amount of exchange, something else could even start to happen.
The front is that's the social space where we
Well, that's
interact, where
just,
we meet.
well, what this teaches us is that through exchange, life happens. Through exchange, vitality is there. I mean, try this one on, a very, very simple one of you. I guess all of us can try to remember this morning getting dressed. Not a hard thing to remember. Right? You remember putting on your socks, putting on your underwear, putting on your pants, your shoes, put everything on. Right? It was a very conscious act. You didn't just kind of come out of the shower or come out of your bed and suddenly you had clothes on. No, you did something. It was an action. How many of you right now can feel your underwear?
actually.
Are aware of wearing an underwear? Can feel that on your skin, around your skin, touching your skin.
If it's not your proper fitting,
So you create a condition so that it's not fitting. So it always has to adjust. So there's always going to be an exchange. There's always going to be a dialogue between
friction.
there's going to be friction. This is friction.
Yeah.
Friction is healthy, guys. Don't misunderstand friction as a bad thing. Friction creates fire. Without fire, there's no life. So it's when something is there. So the first time I touch you, you're going to feel me. 5 minutes, those cells are numb. They know nothing anymore feeling because they're just there. The moment I do this because it doesn't fit well, you go, it's there. In fact, I could probably go, now I feel my underwear. Yeah, I feel my underwear. Or I can wiggle my toes. And now I feel my sock. So I'm creating life, but otherwise it just dies. What happens to a person lying in bed who just has to lie in bed all day because they can't move? What sort of happens to all the cells on their skin on their back?
It's dying.
It's the exact same thing, guys.
If you got too much friction and you get annoyed, you
There's
raise
always a
your bar and
threshold.
then
There's always a threshold.
But
Two,
Everything
two
has-
in front of it.
Everything has a threshold.
Too
little
is
is
never,
too much.
never
And
good
too
thing.
much,
I need to get
too much kinds of exchange leads to things that we think also might not be so great. Because the kind of amounts of exchanges here, suddenly the policies is that you just let something go its own direction, and suddenly it becomes a relatively exclusive space.
But finding,
now suddenly
finding that
because-
balance is the most difficult
Yeah,
thing.
but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
How do we find sustainability? How do we find resilience? Something can stay and continue to evolve accordingly. So if we know this, how much exchange is taking place here? And I'm not talking about all the different Lauras in here, or all the different kind of people that are in here that are all kind of similar. I'm talking about the part-whole relationship. How much exchange does this have with its city?
well, minimum to none.
Very low, you can basically say.
And it's not always a problem, because there's a lot of rich neighborhoods who are also sort of excluded.
Well, we're gonna get into, say, there's always a certain kind of economy, you can do certain kind of things. So for every rule, there's always an exception, without a doubt. So we're dealing with normal, natural behavior. So here, there's no flow. There's just an idea that someone put together and has to invest now for the last 35, 40 years to keep that alive. And the government's always gonna have to invest in this thing, because in itself, it just doesn't flow. You have to make a real conscious decision to go there. You gotta make a really, really conscious decision to go here. You're not gonna accidentally pass through this neighborhood. But you gotta either know it there, or take this kind of walk and be invited for somebody to go here to become part of this. But what's happening here? I mean, if I say that here it's a destination area, so you gotta go there because you have a destination, you gotta go before you read there. It's a destination area. What about this? What about the pipe?
It's a trajectory, it's a pass-through.
It's a pass-through kind of space. You got nothing to do with the pipe, but you can still pass right through it. Because you happen to be here, and you gotta get over here. Or you gotta be over here, you're here, and you gotta get down over here. So this thing here is that things are passing through here that got nothing at all to do with this place. So what was first? The programs and the activities, or the spatial condition?
The infrastructure, this
Spatial
condition.
condition.
And it's a spatial condition that supports the possibility that a policy will work, as opposed to a policy won't work.
But the spatial condition was also interpreted negatively for a long period of time, because it used to be sort of backward,
Exactly.
so it
Yeah,
changed
the
over
spatial
time.
condition doesn't mean it's going to be,
But there's going to have political support to
there
it,
are more things influencing it.
and the zone. So it's never one thing, but it's saying that the key word, it's a complex word to actually understand, it's called affordance. Affordance. Now, explain that word, try to explain that word.
Yeah, but the spatial condition is always relative to other.
It's part of,
Things.
it's part of the whole.
You can't
It's
say that
here.
the spatial condition of the pipe was always positive.
No, because if you create a neighborhood which looks exactly like the pipe, but somewhere in the middle of Boulder, it's not gonna work.
The pipe has the potential to make the change.
I think that is it.
Yeah.
You put the same,
Yeah,
this
but
here.
Laura's right, also, the potential hasn't always been there, it changed over time also.
Also,
Yeah,
but
but
it's
also
also,
the-
the whole surrounding, the whole city changed also, the whole society changed.
Yeah. So the spatial
Yeah.
condition means nothing in itself.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, the spatial condition means a lot in itself, because spatial condition of an idea to make an area mixed use or commerce, here or here, makes a fundamental difference to its success.
Yeah.
This thing, in its own natural condition, supports exchange from different kinds of things. Because there's the thing called Laura living here, visiting her friend there, or there's this thing called this person here, coming here, going over there to this place over here. There's this thing over here that's moving out here, hasn't get to the main street to move out. There's all of these things that are moving here. And here, the only thing is, it's all the same.
If you
Right.
wouldn't, 100 years ago, you wouldn't have said that the pipe had a favorable spatial condition.
Well, I didn't study it 100 years ago, but I probably would have if it did have a favorable condition. I'd have to see what it looked like back then.
No, but it's also the whole,
And more or less the same.
it's also the whole part.
But she's
in-
only
in the-
indicating that because the city spells out, the pipe becomes a suitable condition because it interconnects other districts. That's what she's saying.
For example, so the pipe here as a new centrality, so we have the, I don't know, Lijnbaan, we have, or no, the Lijnbaan, we have the Dam, Damrak, you have the Leidseplein, you have your little spots here, and suddenly there's someone saying, hey, you know, here's another area,
Hmm.
which, of course, there's some kind of network around here that seems to be connecting some of these things, so you can actually connect your centralities, which are these kind of roads there. But a centrality becomes a centrality because it centralizes, because it actually brings things through it. And because of the passing through of differences, that something starts to happen. Something else. And that else can be anything. It could be social exchange. It could be economic exchange. The point is, if I don't know what my neighbor looks like, if I don't happen to see another person, then I'm going to have more of a fear idea of who that person is. And here, all different kind of persons are just passing through. And through the passing through, and through the seeing and exchanging, that suddenly potentiality starts to emerge. And all that you're doing here is creating potentiality. In fact, who knows the Haussmann intervention in Paris?